Hello, welcome to the FSB news briefing for Beds, Cams and Hearts. I'm Stephen Rhodes. Small businesses are the lifeblood of the British economy, and I'm sure just about every politician knows that. But what are they doing to help? Well, Gavin Shuker, he's the Labour MP for Luton South, and I asked him what he's been doing in support of small businesses in his constituency.
We do a number of things out of my office. We organise breakfasts and lunches with local businesses to understand what the concerns are. And of course, in my work in Westminster, sometimes I can get issues unlodged or changed as a result of my lobbying efforts. So it's, I think, ultimately about having a relationship with small business, including with the FSB.
Give me an idea of what you've been doing.
Yeah, sure. Well, if you look at some of the initiatives up at the airport, for example, where we've got a cluster of really exciting businesses coming together, one of the issues they've been talking to me about is skills, apprenticeships and the like. So I'm working with local businesses up there to see whether or not we can get more young people coming through, perhaps picking up service skills and the like.
And what about local procurement as far as the airport's concerned?
I think it can be quite difficult sometimes, though, for big organisations like the local authority to even have that in their mindset.
You talk about it being difficult for them to do them. A lot of big organisations just overlook what's going on at their feet.
Yeah.
Can you not do something to nudge them on to perhaps paying more attention to what's going on around them?
One of the issues I've been looking at in Westminster is when it comes to the awarding of contracts, for example, sometimes the threshold can be very high, and seeing what we can do to lower that to many less thousands of pounds.
I gather in Luton that small businesses have quite an advantage over other areas in that they're able to dispose of their waste through the local tips rather than having to pay a commercial rate as bigger businesses have to do. But wouldn't that be a good idea to sort of push that out across the country for small businesses?
I'm really interested to see what we can do around small businesses and charities and other organisations when it comes to disposing of their waste. As you say, in Luton, I think we've got the right settlement, but in other parts of the country, it can be really hard for small business to be able to afford that. They feel it's not a level playing field, that big businesses are being treated in the same way as them. And so if there's something we can do around that in the next Parliament, I think we'll do it.
Local campaigns. Now, the FSB is big on shop local campaigns and really pushing for that. What's been done about that in your constituency?
We haven't done much, in all honesty. My colleague Shuker has been pushing Small Business Saturdays in his own part of the world, and I'd like to be able to see what we could do there.
One other area I want to touch on is national insurance holidays. Now, national insurance holidays are happening in Northampton, but it's not happening in Bedfordshire.
Well, you've got to look at the decisions that local governments are being forced to make at the moment and that government nationally are making in terms of certain enterprise areas and the like. Now, my personal feeling is that we need to get better at promoting Luton's case and the surrounding area to make sure that we can...
Well, what are you doing to do that?
Well, I'm working with people such as you in the FSB, I think, to try and bring together local businesses to really push on that. But if you look at like the work of the SEMLEP, the local enterprise partnership, you know, it's early days for many of these organisations and we need to get some basics in place. But I think they could be really helped by having an alliance of MPs, not just Tories and Lib Dems, but people in opposition as well, really shouting up for their case. And so in Westminster, I'm trying to promote their cause as well.
Now, in summary, you talk about wanting to promote a lot of things like local procurement, like the national insurance holiday for the county and all the rest of it. But what are you actually doing? What results have you actually come up with in your time in Parliament representing the constituency of Luton South?
I suppose the primary way in which I've been able to be most helpful is key individual businesses who have hit a problem, perhaps the local authority or perhaps around the law in Westminster, and been able to move that situation on and get it sorted. You know, one really good example is of the Daily Express moving up here to Luton. Fantastic. They've chosen to move up here. We managed to speed that process up by 6 to 9 months by actually working with utility companies to get them on site, get power on site and the like. At the end of the day, though, I think you make a really valid point, which is for those of us that are in opposition, we can only help actually when we're working in alliance with other organisations. We don't have direct spending power in that sense, which is why the relationship with the FSB is so important.
Gavin Shuker, the Labour MP for Luton South. Well, that concludes this news briefing for Beds, Cams and Hearts. Look forward to seeing you again soon.